Welcome to a podcast by Kayleigh, the gateway to unlocking your unlimited potential. I'm creating an army of 6- and 7-figure makeup artists, and I want you to join me. In this podcast, I'm going to be crushing gatekeeping, opening the doors to the knowledge you need, and deep diving into the topics that can push us to the next level. Be prepared for epic guests and answers to the questions you have always wanted to know. No more small business, no more just a makeup artist. The beauty industry is a $250 billion industry, and you're in it. Let's get ready to open those gates. This is a podcast by Kayleigh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a podcast by Kayleigh. Today, it is just me and you. Now, I am coming to you live from London, but by the time that this actually goes up, I will be on my first big holiday in a really long time. I will be in Japan, and I will no doubt be on Instagram stories, literally sharing everything because I'm so excited. But I thought this would be a perfect time to just schedule some solo episodes, just me and you today. So on this episode, I'm going to be talking to you about social media. When I put out a Q&A not too long ago, I asked you guys what solo episodes you would like to see. I also put out a broadcast and asked you guys what content you want to see from me. And you guys said social media. So on today's episode of a podcast by Kayleigh, I'm going to be talking about the things I think we should all stop doing on Instagram. Instagram is one that pops up again and again and again. So here I am. I'm creating my first podcast on everything to do with Instagram, but mainly the things that I think generally as an industry we should stop doing and start doing instead. So buckle in, guys. Today is going to be an actionable one. Today is going to be a juicy one. Today is going to maybe be a bit of stark reality for some, but just know that everything I say with love, and I say with the purpose of just growing you guys, growing your businesses, growing your happiness, growing your bank accounts. I hope you've got a drink next to me today. I have got 2 drinks. I've got water and I have got my little CBD drink. Buckle in. Let's talk about the gram. So the first thing that I want you guys to really take a deep breath, stop doing, is over strategizing. You're probably like, Kayleigh, what on earth are you saying? Because I myself say anything that you want to do in business should have some sort of strategy and data behind it, right? But I mean very specific strategies. The strategies like being on Instagram 30 minutes before you post and then commenting on loads of, like-minded accounts and following and unfollowing. I mean like the game playing strategy. I wish we would all stop doing that because genuinely that is not how we grow and that is not how we book. So if you're a bit confused and you're wondering what strategies I'm talking about, there was one very popular strategy that went viral around 2020, 2019 kind of era. And it was that strategy, if you haven't heard of it or don't remember it, it was the one where all the Instagram gurus would tell you to grow and to get followers, to get seen. You have to get on Instagram 30 minutes before you post and you have to be really active. And then you have to be on Instagram as soon as your post goes live. You need to be going through your hashtags and finding like-minded accounts and commenting on them so they come on over to your account and yada. Follow 10 niche accounts, spend 15 minutes liking pages in your hashtag group. Do these things every single day. And all of these things would add up. Like I tried this strategy. And I'm sure some of you guys actually saw me trying this strategy. And it was exhausting. You were on Instagram for like an hour a day. An hour out of 24 we would be spent clawing away trying to do these strategies. And I'm not going to lie, I did get results. I did grow maybe 1,000 followers from doing that strategy. But the biggest thing that happened is I became stressed out. I became a monster to the Instagram machine. I was looking at my metrics all the time. I was looking at my likes. I was constantly like, I haven't hit the targets that I need to hit today. So I need to keep commenting. And I would be like Googling strategies and it becomes obsessive. And Instagram is literally algorithmically built to be obsessive. Those are the strategies that I am not a big fan on. They just do not align to me. And whilst they work, they take a hit on your mental health, your time. They're not sustainable strategies that are going to get you to your end goals. Instead of those strategies, what I would love us to start doing instead is to start looking at fact and data. For me, all I need to do is go on my data, my insights on Instagram, Instagram and just take a look at my most top performing posts. And I can guarantee there is always going to be a pattern. And then the only strategy that I need is to figure out when my optimal posting time is and continue creating content for my ideal client, for you guys that you resonate with. That is my ultimate strategy. That's a strategy that I like. I have other strategies in place as well. I create content consistently once a week. I'm scheduled at least 2 months in advance. I have tiny strategies. It's those first strategies which take such a toll on your time and your day for not much kickback at all. You're not going to get much from these in terms of the amount of time that you are putting in. So what I would love for us to do is to stop over strategizing and just pull it back to basics. Look at what your ideal client loves, what they're resonating with. Look at what posts have done well in the past, because that is telling you what people are stopping and clicking on and liking and sharing and saving. That is the most important data. There are tons of Instagram growth strategies out there. Literally, if you Google it, there will be tons, but they take such a toll on our time. And the biggest growth that I have had personally, speaking from my own experience, has come from just looking at the simple facts. What is it my client wants to see? What pain points can I solve? What content can I create that they will enjoy and resonate with? That was the best strategy that I could do. And it's fun. It's fun to create that kind of content. It's fun to brainstorm those topics. So if I could recommend that you stop doing anything, it's stop going for the little hacks, because that is playing small. Play bigger, play more long term when it comes to your content strategy. Okay, this next one is gonna make some people unhappy. And I promise I'm saying this with all the love in the world, but I want us to stop posting for us and our egos. Now, what I mean by this is you should enjoy the content that you're putting out there. You should look at your grid and it should make you really happy, because honestly, if you're not happy, you're not going to consistently create. You're not going to consistently enjoy what you're doing. You're going to be miserable. But what I mean by this is, a few years ago, if you actually just go to my Instagram account right now and just scroll back a few, maybe go to 2018 or even 2020 and look at that content. That content was for me. I was posting that. It was very self-gratifying content. Look, everyone, look at who I booked. Look at what I've created. Look at my most recent test shoot. Look at this and say how amazing I am. That is literally what I was posting. Sure, I was posting it in the hopes of getting booked, but I was also posting it because I wanted to hear great things about my work. And that is satisfying your ego. It is self-gratifying content. And a lot of us, and I'm sorry, this goes for me as well, by the way. This is a hard pill to swallow. But a lot of us are still doing that. A lot of us are still posting self-gratifying content that serves nobody. I want you to literally rewind what I'm about to say if it resonates with you. We are exhausted. We have seen every single makeup look at this point. There is very little bridal makeup that will make me stop and double click right now. I have seen it all. I have seen every single Charlotte Tilbury product. I have seen it all for years, since 2017. We're all the same. We have all seen that type of content. It no longer feels new or special or resonates with us. And that's the same for our ideal client. Our ideal clients have also been on Instagram for a really long time, and we forget that. And a lot of us, myself included in this, are still posting 2017 and 2018 era content when content has changed. Back then, we could get away with posting for us. We could get away with posting the self-gratifying content. But even influencers right now, their content is shifting so much from the perfectly polished, pictures in front of Elan Cafe or wherever they are. And they're going a little bit more real and raw and less self-serving. So if you're looking at your Instagram grid right now and you think that that is for you and that serves you and it doesn't really serve anyone else, then it might be time to switch it up. We might still be sitting in 2017/2018 era content. What your content should do is it should make you happy. You should still really enjoy creating and making your content, because otherwise you won't make it, simple as. But your content should not be for you unless it's a personal account or unless it's an account that you don't really want to grow or get anything from, or, you're not serving a business need with that account. Then you can put anything on it. You can put what you're eating, what you're reading, what you're doing. You can put anything on that. But if your account is for the purpose of getting booked, making money, creating a business, then your content needs to serve somebody else other than you, because otherwise you're creating selfish content. So what I would love for you to stop doing is to stop posting content that is self-gratifying, that is self-serving, that is selfish, and start posting content that is for somebody else, that serves somebody else. My biggest pet peeve with this, and I do this, oh my God, please go and have a look at some of my older captions. It's a picture of a beautiful makeup look and it's got no caption, or it's got an arty caption. What is that? Who is that caption serving? When I posted a product list, who was that serving? Because it wasn't, nobody cares. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So really, if you are looking to get some business results from your Instagram, then you need to step out of that mindset and step into, how can I serve them with this caption? How can I serve my community? How can I serve whoever I'm looking to book? How can I show up for them today? That is what I would love you to start doing. Okay, this one is also for me. I'm literally saying this next one for me, but we gotta stop posting and ghosting. Now, I find this really difficult because my content is scheduled. I want you to imagine two scenarios here. I want you to imagine scenario number one. You have posted at 5 p.m. and then off you've gone. And then you've posted again and again and again, and off you've gone, and you don't really respond to comments. Now imagine a client comes onto your page, they're enjoying all your work, and they go and they see all these amazing comments, and they're like, that's really nice. Okay, now imagine scenario number two. Your ideal client has gone onto your page and they're loving all your work, and they go on a post that's really attracted them, and they see all these comments, and then they see your replies, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's a real conversation going on here. Oh my gosh, this person, it sounds really nice. I want to book with them even more now because I can see they're connecting. I can see they're using emojis. That is why we need to stop posting and ghosting, because there are two opportunities here that we can have in the comments. Opportunity number one, you can create a community. And this is something I really, really do try to do. I do try and carve time out of my day to respond to as many comments as I can. And for the most part, I do manage to respond, but not as well as I would like. So this one here, this whole spiel is also for me as well as you guys. It's really, really good to respond to those comments for the people who have actually taken the time out of their day to leave them. But also for person number two, who is stalking your page, who is looking to potentially book you, and they're able to see, oh my gosh, this person really bloody cares. What I would love for us to do is to maybe stop posting and ghosting and to start coming back at a time that suits us, because we're not a fan of major strategies, to come back at a time that suits us, to carve time out of our day on even a weekly basis and answer our comments and ask questions and encourage engagement on our posts and really start to cultivate some kind of conversation within our comment section. And it's not even just comment section, stories, DMs. Social media has lost the social part. And I do believe it's coming back. I really do. But what you could crucially be missing is an opportunity to create friendship, to network, but to also create some really bloody good PR for yourself. That is number three, what I would love us to stop and start doing. Now, number four, I think I'm going to get some backlash for this one. But remember, I mean it with love, guys. But I would love for us to stop saying that we have nothing to post. If you're at that train station, if you are at that train stop and you've just boarded the nothing to post train, I want to let you know that you have so much opportunity to post. If I hear this, I think, oh my goodness, I just want to shake you. I'm sorry if you ever said that to me and I've been like, no, I want to shake you, because there is always something to post. But Kayleigh, I have nothing to post. But Kayleigh, I've posted that before. But Kayleigh, I don't know what my audience wants. These are small business energy excuses. Number one, if you know your ideal client, if you know your ideal client's pain points, you can create content for them. There is literally hundreds of things that you could create for your ideal client. I'm going to give you a real life example right now. So my ideal client is the kind of East London bride. Let's take her as an example. Her main pain point when it comes to booking a makeup artist, is she doesn't want a overly traditional look. She's looking for a more editorial, fashion kind of look. She's looking for something that makes her feel like she stepped out of Vogue. Her pain point is that everything online is too traditional. I can create at least 12 off the top of my head content ideas around that one pain point alone. I can show her trending makeup. I can show her celebrities who have worn trending makeup. I can recreate a trending makeup on myself. I can show makeup products that can give her that look. I can show her my own portfolio images that are literally what she's looking for. I can show her do's and don'ts. I can show her so many things that solve a single pain point. And that's just one out of so many. She might have skin pain points. She might have confidence pain points. She might have wedding planning pain points. But just there, I was able to reel off 5 ideas from one single pain point. So if you have nothing to post, I need you to go back to your drawing board, do a giant mind map, and think of what your ideal client is struggling with, because there you will have ideas alone. Number 2 thing that I hear a lot around this is, Kayleigh, I don't have any portfolio images. Everybody's seen everything. Right now, I want you to understand one thing, guys, from this whole podcast episode. Instagram does not push your content out to 100% of your followers. It goes to roughly 6 to 10% max. 10% on a really great day. So that means if you have done a portfolio day or a content day and you have got a banging piece of work, only 10% of your followers are seeing that at most. That amazing piece of content, which took you hours, by the way, where you got a model in, or perhaps you even paid for it. Maybe you paid for one of Storm's portfolio days. You know, you took a lot of time out of your day to create that image. That image has been given one single chance to get you bookings, because somehow, somewhere along the way, we all told ourselves that we can't repost something more than once. That is such a huge roadblock. It is such a huge mindset block. If you have got one stunning hero image, then I want you to post that once a month for a year. Give that image the most chance to get bookings for you, to make money for you. Nobody cares if they see it twice, I promise. If you go and look at any majorly booked makeup artist and scroll through their content, go back at least 4 years, you're going to see images pop up again and again and again, because that is smart marketing. When Charlotte Tilbury or MAC, when they do a campaign, they're not using that image once. They're plastering that image everywhere because it costs them a lot of money and time. That is big business energy. It's taking an image and maximizing its ultimate potential. So if you are sitting there and you're telling me you are not reposting and repurposing your work, I want you to start there, because that right there can give you a month's worth of content. I just want you to go back through all of your portfolio images, take all of them that are amazing, put them all in a folder and see how many you have, because I bet you right there you've got a month's worth of content. So we're all going to get off. We're literally going to get off the nothing to post train right now. We're getting off at the next stop and we're heading to I have loads to post station, okay? Because if you're thinking you don't have content, I bet you have got so much content sitting on your phone or sitting on your laptop. If you think you don't have ideas for content, you do. You really do. You just have to start with your who. So we are going to stop getting caught on the nothing to post train, and we are going to start boarding the reposting, repurposing, the smart marketing train, the smart content train. We're all on board it right now, right? We have a wealth of content, all of us. We're just not using it properly. So I want us to stop using that excuse and start marketing with big ass business energy. Cool. Okay, this next one. I want you to stop comparing yourself. Now, don't switch off, because I know all of you are rolling your eyes. When you're on your way to your weddings right now, you're all rolling your eyes at me. But here's one thing that I hear a lot. Oh, Kayleigh, I hate Instagram. Oh, I'm so over Instagram. I'm so bored of Instagram. Instagram's such a negative place. Instagram makes me feel like crap. I really want you to understand that Instagram can be a negative place. But can is the key word here. If we rewind to maybe 2018, 2019, I was in this exact mindset where I just was over it. I didn't want to post anymore. Anybody who would tell me, you know, you need to be on Instagram more, you need to be doing this more on Instagram, I would roll my eyes and I would be like, I don't want to be on Instagram. I had that really negative mindset about it. And the reason is because I was seeing work that was better than mine. I was seeing artists who were booked and busy and thriving, and I was struggling. I was really, really comparing myself, and I was making my social media a really negative experience. But I had a small mindset shift. It was actually in COVID, I think, that I had this shift, where I realized in the palm of my hand, I have something that can be the most negative space in the world, or I can cultivate and curate my experience on Instagram. So I went through and I unfollowed a bunch of people that didn't serve me, mainly kind of influencers that were, these inverted commas, perfect body types, or, were living a lifestyle that made me wish that I wanted that lifestyle. If I had kind of emotional attachments to certain people where unfollowing them could perhaps be an argument, I used the mute button. So I would mute maybe some friends who were making me feel some type of way, which is 100%, this is a me problem, by the way. The way that I'm feeling, it is not their fault that they're booked. That's great. It is not their fault that they were producing work of a better standard than me. That's amazing. And a part of me was happy for them, but also a part of me was sad for me. And that is not a them problem. So if you're kind of finding that you're comparing yourself and you're feeling down, we do have to recognize that it starts with us, and it only starts with us. It's not anyone else's fault if they're killing it. Good for them. But it's also down to us. It's kind of our responsibility to nip that in the bud if we can. So I went through and I muted a bunch of people. I muted maybe friends that were killing it just for a little while, just temporarily, until I could get a grip on this comparison demon that was making me feel like that. Now, as a result of this, a few things happened. The first thing that happened is my grid became a really positive place. My feed became a really positive place. My experience on the app became much more curated, but in a way that served me. I started to follow people that made me feel good. I started to create a community that made me feel good. I started to become involved in communities that made me feel good. So that when I was scrolling, I wasn't comparing or seeing things that made me feel icky or brought out my insecurities. When I was scrolling, I was seeing things that made me feel empowered, that made me feel high vibe. And that's when I started to realize I control this experience to a certain extent. There are a lot of things that we can't control in business and in life, but there's also a lot of things that we can control. And I think our Instagram experience is one of them. So by muting those accounts and by taking control of that situation, I actually started to improve my mindset, and I was able to unmute some accounts. I was able to start to follow members of the community again, and I was able to really take control of my insecurities around that. The next thing that happened was my sentiment around Instagram changed. I started to really enjoy the app. I started to use it on my terms. So here's the thing. Instagram will be whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be a crappy place that's filled with negativity, that's what it will be, because our words do become our reality. Our subconscious listens to that stuff. So with me saying to people, I don't want to be on Instagram, I think it's changing the world for the worse, and I think this and that, that's what it was in my head. But when I started to take more control over it and started to have a better positive experience on it, I started to see it for being a good place. It was a place where I could go and get inspiration, where I could meet people, where I could network, where I could create an amazing community here on By Kayleigh, so I could market and find clients and make money. Instagram to me right now is an amazing place. I am very pro Instagram because that's the mindset I'm in, because it's the experience that I'm having and I can control that experience. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some days where I'm like, oh my God, Instagram, I spent a lot of time on this post and it's completely bombed. And obviously I think there are some societal repercussions of becoming so addicted to our phones. But generally we have to work with what we've got and what we can control. We can't control those things, but we can control our experience on it. So what I would like for you to stop doing is to stop saying it's a crappy app, to stop saying you're bad at Instagram, to stop saying you don't like Instagram, because that's your reality. That's what it's going to be. Simple as. I want you to start taking ownership, responsibility for the things that you are doing, seeing, watching. I want you to take control. You are the CEO of your business. So mute them, unfollow them. Make Instagram a place where you actually enjoy being on it, where you enjoy creating content, where you enjoy showing up, because you have that power. Cultivate a feed that inspires you, empowers you, makes you laugh, makes you cry in a good way, and more than anything, makes you happy, because we can do that, you know. So I've got 2 more for you. The next one is one that I spoke on in the Level Up Club. Last month, we did an amazing live training, especially on Instagram. It's part of my Instagram subscription, MUA Social School. Level Up Club members get access to that. So we did a whole live training, and we do these monthly on Instagram. And it was actually on things to stop and start doing. So this is kind of a mini version of that, essentially. And the first point that I wanted to make was I wanted us to stop perfection and the pursuit of it. And everybody collectively on that call, if they were on camera, I saw their shoulders go down. I saw them exhale. It was like they had been waiting to hear that. It was so good, actually. I didn't intend this, but it was a really nice way to start off the call. Because perfection is just as bad as comparison. Perfection is another box that we can box ourselves into and we can never get out of it. Perfection slows you down, holds you back, encourages poor business decisions, and stops your growth. Perfect grids, I've seen it time and time again, stop people from posting. We're always so worried about something looking a tiny bit off when actually nobody cares. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like having a grid that is curated and looks put together and feels like a family and a business, this is what we want. We want some consistency. We want some thread that goes through the posts that feels familiar, so that if a client is exploring your page, it's not just a complete dump of everything that you've ever worked on. There is some purpose in it. But not every post has to be the same. Not every pose has to be the same. Not every makeup has to be perfect. Not every model has to have perfect skin. All of these things create this very unrealistic grid that nobody can resonate with. There is a reason why influencers like Emma Chamberlain have really kicked off. It's because we are tired of perfection. We are tired of the influencers who are standing in front of the Ivy and they look perfect. We're tired of that because it's unrealistic. So if you are holding back from showing up, from posting on social media because you think that perhaps this imperfect makeup where the lighting or the background isn't perfect, or, you know, there might be a lash out of place or something, those imperfect qualities aren't actually there. They're just our inner critic. Most people don't even see those imperfections. Just us. Some of my most imperfect work has actually turned out to be some of my most celebrated work. There's a lot of tutorials that I'm posting on Kayleigh K MUA at the moment. And I look at those tutorials and I'm like, that is not great. But that's just me being an artist, me overanalyzing and overthinking it. And if you do that too much, if you get caught in that mindset too much, you will never post it. You will just keep it in drafts forever and ever. And then it will be 6 months down the line and you haven't posted at all. So I want you to stop perfection. I want you to let go and let in the real. Start creating real content. And as I said, don't get me wrong, we want it to feel like a family. So make sure that, you know, there is some part of it that is professional, that is polished in some way, you know, that's branded in some way, that feels like you in some way. Make sure there is some kind of thread of purpose that goes throughout your posts. But just let go a little bit. Have fun a little bit. One of the things that I told my students was we sometimes take it all a bit too seriously. And in business, to really grow, we have to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. This is literally my biggest saying to my students. You will see, especially if you're in MUA Social School, my accounts right now are kind of all over the place because they're in the very beginning stages. I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what content sticks. The content that sticks is the content that people are resonating with and that people like. But the other content, I need to do that content to figure out what people aren't liking. So we need to let go of the fact that everything we do needs to be perfect because we're in business, and business requires experimentation. It requires creativity, which cannot thrive in a place where we're being overly perfect. So let it go, guys. This is my invitation today. Let it go. Now, finally, my final stop. Stop being the makeup artist you think you should be. This is a really deep one. When I was a younger makeup artist, I wanted to be everyone but myself. I wanted to be Nikki. I wanted to be Pat. I wanted to be Val, Mario, Hung. I wanted to be everyone but myself. Those artists didn't get where they are without being unapologetically themselves in their artistry. And when we're trying to replicate somebody else or follow somebody else's exact story, we become fake carbon copies of them when we have an amazing artist already in us waiting to be unleashed. You have amazing, unique, wonderful qualities that are dimmed when we try and fit in the box of what we think we should be in, when we try and replicate the cut crease, when we think we need to be full glam because every trend says so, because we need to be Sophia Richie because that's what's trending right now. You need to throw the rule book out the window because that's what the amazing artists before us have taught us to do. Mario did not become Mario by trying to be somebody else. Nikki did not become Nikki by trying to be somebody else. And that is one thing that I've noticed with every single amazing podcast podcast guests that I've had is that all of them have just stopped at some point and realized I am me and that is my superpower. I am an introvert. That is my superpower. I am ADHD. That is my superpower. I am bright and colourful, and that is my superpower. Everybody has a superpower, but by trying to be other people, we lose a bit of that each and every day. So this is another invitation for you to stop trying to be somebody else. Stop trying to be me if you're an educator. Stop trying to be Val Garland, or just stop trying to be everybody else and just start being you. Start figuring out what you bring to the table. Start figuring out what your unique artistry looks like, because when you write your own rules, when you become who you're truly supposed to be, that's when things get exciting. That's when things start to fall into place. Nobody became somebody by trying to be somebody else. I was trying to do this for years. I felt so uncomfortable with who I was and what I brought to the table. I thought I didn't bring anything to the table. So I spent years trying to be louder, prettier, trying to be everybody else but myself. And when I finally, and I think turning 30 probably played a part in this, but when I finally became so exhausted with trying to be everybody else that I just accepted I am who I am. This is what I offer. This is what I'm good at. This is what I excel at. That's when By Kayleigh happened. That's when magic happened. When I stopped trying to be who I wasn't. So stop being the makeup artist you think you should be and just be. Oof. That was an emotional last one. Oh my goodness. I always end up getting a bit too like TMI with these one-on-one episodes, but I just feel like that's who I am. And I'm not going to shun it. That's my superpower. And when I did my money story, I know so many of you guys really resonated with that. So I'm not afraid to show up and be a little bit vulnerable sometimes. So that was today's episode. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to know what your key takeaways are. If you actually learned anything from this episode, were you offended by anything in this episode? Was there anything that you realized in this episode? My DMs are always open. I love, love, love hearing from you guys. So if you have DM'd me in the past, you don't know how much my day has made. When you tag me in pictures of you listening to the podcast on your way to weddings, you do not know how much that means. I save and screenshot every single one of them because there are some days where I need to reread those a little bit more than other days. So my biggest gratitude for you guys for always. And if you have resonated in some way, please do let me know, because I love to connect. I love to chat with you guys. I love to hear your guys' stories. Do let me know. Slide in my DMs. It's at By Kayleigh Podcast. So I hope you enjoy a few solo episodes. My next one is going to be about some key learns that I've had over this past wedding season. So it's going to be juicy. So I will see you next week. Until then, bye guys. You have been listening to a podcast by Kayleigh. Thank you so much for tuning in today and being on this mission with me to self-improvement and taking steps towards financial empowerment. If you liked what you heard today, be sure to follow me on the gram at By Kayleigh Podcast, where I post pretty much daily. I would also love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and energy. So please do leave me a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you are listening today. In the meantime, I want you to go forward, believe in yourselves, and be the change you want to see. Bye, guys.